and welcome to Final Fights. I am Mark Hoffmeyer, and joining me is a man that is slowly walking towards my location. It's John Levingood.
Well, I hate cardio, so that's the best you're going to get out of me.
So this is your spirit creature.
I mean, yeah, clearly they don't show it at all in the film, but clearly this monster favors like squats and deadlifts over sprints.
It's just slow. You know me, man. I've spent a lot of time over the years with this movie tracing every step that it's walked. You can go to Movies, Films, and Flicks and kind of read those articles. Just type in "It Follows" how far it traveled. I know I just said that, but John, I'm so happy you joined me for this. It's October. I wanted to do some Halloween horror Final Fights. And this is something I want to talk about because I've read a lot of reviews in this movie that make fun of Jay and Kelly and Yara and Paul. And they're saying, oh, this Scooby gang goes to this pool and comes up with this plan that's clearly not going to work. And it's just so stupid. And I'm thinking to myself, these are kids. So Jay,
they're teenagers, and we have no evidence of internet.
Exactly, they're kids. They don't have a parental structure built around them. They don't have, you know what I mean? They don't have a strong family unit to go to. And what I like is these kids. I think sometimes reviewers who are 30, 40 go, oh, that's dumb. But you got to look back to when we were that age, man. If you and I if we had no. Like, let's say we had work, right? But we worked at the local ice cream shop part-time. We wouldn't have money to drive away to Alabama or California and, like, live there for half the year or time it.
Well, I'll just get on a plane and go to Alaska or whatever. And then 5 weeks later, I'll just go fly to Miami. Yeah, I know the arguments that people make. You can make a logical argument, but it's not logical for the movie.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if you're a millionaire, right, then if you're Scrooge McDuck, you could do that. Right. But in this movie, these kids have nothing and they just decide, okay, what can we do? And they're not thinking, hey, I can throw a sheet over its head and shoot it in the head. I mean, which they do figure out. Smart. The sister's like super smart in this, which I love. And it's just like Kelly, she comes up with that. But they just go to this pool. They decide to go on the offensive. They're thinking to themselves, let's electrocute it. Let's see if we can electrocute it. It's not the best plan, but they're 19, 17, 16, 18. Like It makes sense to me. Also, from a production standpoint, I mean, it's easy to light. They probably replaced all the lights in the swimming pool.
Right, it's a closed set.
Closed set. You replace the lights. That's the lighting right there. And you can see the stuff on the walls. That's it. So to replace those light bulbs, get some water gear. It's pretty insular. It's pretty closed off to shoot. And okay. It makes sense to me. Let's try to electrocute it. Cool. Like, we've seen this before. Like, let's do it. It doesn't.
And the other thing is that you're basically going on one of them giving who doesn't share a lot, because usually when she sees it, it's horrifying. So you're going on one person's explanation or their ability to describe what they saw when they are terrified, when they are traumatized, for everyone else to now extrapolate how this works. And then she's recounting maybe, and then they all go visit that guy, right, who gave it to her. And he gave her the rules and he recounts things, right? He's like, look, wherever you are, it's on its way towards you. It's walking towards you, but it's walking. You have time. You can get in a car, but it's always walking towards you. And then you have her accounts, whatever they are, right, of it. So they're just thinking, well, wait, hold on. So, like, I don't understand what this is. I don't understand what you see. Whatever you're telling me, it's inconsistent because it changes its appearance, right? Sometimes it's a horrifying iteration of a person. Sometimes it just looks like a person. Sometimes it looks like a little kid with dead bird's eyes, like screeching and scrambling around. And other times it's just slowly, patiently walking towards you. So it's hard to get a beat on this thing's behavior, especially when you're just hearing it secondhand. So as best I could discern, if I'm kid X who isn't infected with this interdimensional STD, if you will, this infernal STD. Okay, so it's always moving towards you wherever you are. Okay, let's put you in the middle of a pool. Presumably it will try to reach you in the pool. You know what she never did, or at least we never saw it, right? Because things can happen in a movie that we don't see happen with the characters. But when it was trying to break into that lake beach house, it kicked a hole in the door, and then it didn't keep trying to come in. It was troubleshooting. It was Velociraptor testing the fences. It was trying to figure something out. So we had evidence of that before we got to the pool scene. But meanwhile, she's just screaming, it's out there, it's out there. Another friend comes, looks through the hole. No, it's out there, right? And then it eventually comes through. So, but just the fact that happened, everyone doesn't understand what was going on. Some people were on the fence about fully trusting that this was happening, or is their friend just crazy and they're doing their best to be supportive? That's the thing. I think that it's easy. Like you said, people forget what it's like to be young. Think about a time when you or one of your friends in high school was manic about something that's completely irrational, even by the physics of our world. It's happened. Yeah. Maybe not physics. I don't mean like some supernatural thing, right? But just some totally unreasonable fear or extrapolation of consequence. And you just get caught up in the moment. You're not thinking this is ridiculous, but I'm going to support my friend. You are in the moment troubleshooting with them. Like you feel the consequence and are trying to circumvent the consequence. So this is I get it. Yeah. It's tough to criticize this as an adult when you kind of watch something once and give your gut response of, well, that's dumb.
Yeah. It's kids. And I mean, you know what I like about the scene? It makes sense, right? They go there, they set everything up. She's like, it'll probably be here in hours. And you have the snafus. I mean, you have Paul shooting Yara in the leg.
Right.
I mean, and this thing's strong. It was throwing TVs a good 30 feet. Tube TVs.
Great aim.
Yeah. Tube TVs. I mean, so I had to move a TV. My father-in-law had to move a TV, an old one. And I'm telling you, man, they're heavy. And that thing was chucking it. You never expected it because they don't know what this thing is. So they don't know how smart it is. They don't know what it'll do. They know it's slow. It doesn't run. It has every chance in the world to run. It never does. But it, like you said, it velociraptors. It troubleshoots. And I liked how their initial plan failed, and he just started using those things to throw at Jay. It's a interesting dynamic. And then what I liked most is how Kelly, Jay, and Yara were trying to troubleshoot when she's getting stuff thrown at her. And I mean, I thought it was really interesting when Paul has the gun and the creature's waving its hand at him, and he shoots the hand and blood splatters on the wall. And then eventually Kelly puts the blanket over his head and he head shoots it, and it falls into the pool. And it's also interesting, again, how it gets headshot in the pool and it starts bleeding everywhere. So really, it's been shot twice. That didn't bleed then, but it bled in the water, which, I don't know, maybe it's like the creature from Signs. But it's just, I don't know, I think it's tense. Also, I was reading about the score. It's by this group called Disaster Piece, and this guy, Rich Vreeland. And he said he had already done a lot of high highs in it. So he's like, I threw everything in the kitchen. I threw the kitchen sink at it. I needed higher highs than the higher highs. And it needed to be strange. And I love how it builds the score in this. And I think it adds to the scene. I mean, you have the insular thing, the pool, the drowning, the creature you can't see, kids scrambling like they would. And I think it adds to a really tense finale of the movie. And so I just wanted to get it out there that this is not stupid kids doing stupid stuff. I mean, they're like you said, they're being attacked by an interdimensional STD that has different powers, that learns. I don't know. I think they did the best they could. They actually tried to be proactive. And remember the girl in the beginning? She kind of gave up.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
she was just waiting for it on the beach.
And I can't
make her peace with her father.
Yeah, I can't say anything wrong with that. I mean, I've never had that chasing me, and you're a kid. I can't go into that headspace. But I don't know. I thought it was neat. Like, these kids didn't want to die. They helped. Like, it was a. You know how I like Matthew Lillard and Hackers and Pauly Shore and Son-in-Law. Like, these are kids who aren't really looked after. They're kind of doing their own thing in who knows when in Detroit. And I don't know. I dig it. I think it builds. I think that the score is excellent. I like how the kids troubleshoot throughout. It's a group effort. And I just think I just dig this final fight. I think it. I don't know. None of the kids die. Right? None of the core girls die.
Oh, no, one does.
Oh, yeah, he gets by his mom, right? In the house.
Right.
But during the final fight, these kids live. And that's never the case. Like, we watch a lot of horror movies, and The Descent, you have that final fight, maybe 2 walk away, 1 walk away. Event Horizon, 2 walk away. And this one, the core group of 4 kids, sans the older dude, Hugh. No, what was his name?
I don't recall.
Yeah.
The shaggy-haired kid.
Yeah, Greg is the one. Yeah, Greg gets killed. I don't know. And so for me, I love the different shots when she walks into the pool and like when she goes to see all the blood in the pool, the overhead shot of her hands, and they're just waiting. I like the scene where there's waiting for hours. And I guess some people could see that as a really indie aesthetic of people not saying much. But I liked they're just waiting. And that's got to be crazy tense, dude. They're just waiting to do battle with an invisible creature. It's got to be pretty scary, I would say. I don't know if you felt that. I don't know,
it was just so. You know what's interesting is that the movie, if you only saw that scene, whatever, you're a random moviegoer, you only see the final fight scene, and let's say you saw it on mute, I'll bet you'd think this scene was stupid.
How come?
Because because, you know, again, it's these people around a pool. Something comes. You eventually infer that there's a thing. It's invisible. It's throwing things. Only one person can see it. It's a strange scene, right? It's throwing things in at her. Why doesn't it just go for her, even though they laid a trap, whatever? It clearly figured it out. You know, I feel like it looks like you're doing your best to make something tense on a budget. For me, what worked about this scene so well, because conceptually it's a pretty unspectacular scene, just conceptually. But all the execution was awesome. Like you said, it felt real the way that they're waiting. They are nervous. I felt nervous. I felt a general sense of unease through the whole movie.
Yeah, just dread throughout.
Right. I mean, it's no Hereditary, right? It's not like a huge weight on my stomach, but still, you never have moments of comfort or significant levity, or diversion. You are constantly waiting for this thing to come, and you feel that your protagonists feel that. And then when it is throwing things at her, the way that they executed it was unexpected. It took them all by such surprise. It was hurling with inhuman accuracy. When it picked up the hairdryer, that thing line drived at her like Magneto launched it.
Yeah.
And it frisbeed a folding chair at her like it was a 1995 WWE cage match with blood. Like she got hit in the head. Yep. I was worried for her, and I had seen the movie before. So again, the execution was really good. But again, just conceptually, I think that if you were to pitch this scene in an elevator, I think that someone would be like, this sounds stupid. Oh, and then they throw a sheet over it so they can see it and they shoot it in the head. I think that would sound stupid, but the execution, the panic of how they did it, it wasn't some like, oh, we'll just do this. You know, that would be dumb. They panicked and they made it work. And when they did it, the kid ran up after doing a horrible job with that gun. But not that he can see what he's shooting at, don't get me wrong. But after doing a horrible job shooting that thing so far, and then when he walked up to it, you could see his unease. All but literally shaking. He goes up to it, and he has that gun held to it for almost like a half of a 1 Mississippi before he fires. Whereas in your head, you just do it. But he's not, the professional. He's a terrified kid. And this is and as if seeing telekinetically launched appliances wasn't enough for him to be fully on board with Jay's story. Now it just got more real for him. There is a 3-dimensional thing right there, right? It's not just some force. It's not just some nondescript ghost to which I can ascribe no characteristics. That makes it real. It puts it right in front of you. It is exactly right there. I think that changes it, and his reaction made sense to me.
Because he had been hit by it before too, right? So he had probably been like
launched
so
on the beach.
He knew that. That's what I like too. Is this kid knew how dangerous this thing is, and they still stuck with it. And I also got to say, I wrote about Yara for Cracked, so you understand why the sister's there. You understand why Paul is there, because Paul likes Jay. But I like that Yara is just a friend. So Yara is the only one who. She doesn't have much skin in the game. She's just a friend. And I like that she's there helping, at least. I kind of dug that about her.
Well, she might have just been a friend, but most people in high school, how many people really make up your
it's true.
Group of close friends? That might have been more important to her in a teenager's mind than her family.
Yeah, you're right. I just liked her doing it though. Like
they just didn't show us that, right? Yeah. They didn't show us any of that.
Well, she's there all the time. She's kind of like an adopted sister almost, I would say. And also, so Tarantino had this big thing where he doesn't like the rules of this creature. He said that the rules of this creature change, and Robert Mitchell, the director, invited him to have a beer and to talk about it. It is pretty interesting, but it's never bothered me. I mean, he does shoot the thing in the hand and blood sprays, and then it seems to heal up. And then he shoots it in the head, and you see blood on the sheet. But then when they shoot it in the head in the pool, it becomes a complete, just blood-soaked thing that only Jay can see. So, did this creature die? Do you think? And it doesn't give us an exact answer, but I mean, it seems with that much blood and it not coming out of the pool that it's dead? What do you think?
Well, so that scene with all that blood, specifically, or I'll call it that shot. It's really just that shot. That was a very art house shot.
Yeah, the blood.
That was
trailer shot.
That was an amount of blood that might have happened if a head exploded in the water. Yeah. I'm serious.
Yeah.
So if I'm thinking critically about that, if I'm using that to assess the putative actual death or destruction or whatever of this thing, I kind of feel like that shot was not a catharsis moment. She's watching, it's a very real moment, but I think it might be her perception. It might be a more her mind's eye than reality, because again, that did not represent what we saw with that bullet.
Yeah.
So, and at the same time, yeah, like this thing has taken some damage before. We saw it take a couple shots on the beach. 1, 2 bullets didn't seem to do anything. For some reason, a third bullet and it fell, and then it got up. We don't really know what kind of, I don't know what to call it, damage thresholds it has. But if it's not responding to pain, and if it's not responding like it has vital organs, I don't necessarily think that we can believe that a headshot is necessarily any more significant to an arm shot.
Yeah. And it's gone through it survived a direct headshot. The back of the head.
If I'm just hand waving and I'm talking about poltergeisty movies and things manifesting, let's say, and I'm not necessarily a believer in this, but no fault to anyone who is. I just, I haven't experienced it. But let's say, okay, ghosts exist and can manifest physical results. They can have literally, in the laws of physics, they can manipulate things or take on a physical form. Well, then if they can take on a physical form, that physical form has some kind of chemical, atomic, ionic bonding structure going on. And then the destructive force of a bullet will rip apart these bonds and or molecules that it is culling together from the surrounding atmosphere to manifest itself, perhaps. Again, a lot of hand waving going on.
Well, there's no answer, so there's no wrong answer. You know what I mean?
So now maybe it doesn't matter if the third bullet goes to your head or another body shot. It's just 3 bullets worth of destructive damage. And you've now reduced my threshold of total bonds chemical bonds I've created from the atmosphere to manifest myself, right? And the body just falls. What I've manifested falls. And then I build up a little strength and inertia, and a couple seconds later, the body gets back up on the beach, right? I'm just focusing now my energy on that. And so I'm viewing it like that. It's that what if it's an active manifestation? It takes work to create this physical manifestation in our Earth. If it is Earth, maybe it's some ethereal or astral thing. I don't know, but obviously we can shoot it. So I don't know. Again, I don't know what the rules are. But so now let's take that to the pool scene. Well, we saw her shoot it 3 times on the beach and it dropped, and then it got back up. Is the pool scene just indicative that it took yet more damage and it might be up later?
Yeah. It's just cumulative.
Again, because if it's manifesting a form, a head and a brain don't matter. It's just manifesting a physical form to be able to manipulate the world around it in the rules that I just created in my head, right? But it's just creating a puppet out of molecules, potentially, and maybe that's why it can look like whatever it wants.
Ooh, I mean that makes sense. I mean, what I like about what you're saying, John, is there's no correct answer, but this seems. I mean, if you posited this at a get-together, people would be like, oh, yeah, I like it. I mean, it's because it doesn't come after her immediately. They didn't immediately just walk away from that pool. I don't think they ran away from it. And there's no reason for it to play, what's the word?
To play possum.
Yeah, there it is. I was going to say chicken. I'm like, they're not running at each other. To play possum, like it would have come out of the pool. I mean, bullets were almost gone. So something must have been affected in that pool.
If it takes this damage, and here's the other thing, if it can manifest a form, does that take energy? We talked about, I've mentioned this in a few of our episodes over the years. When we first talked about this movie, by the way, I think in like episode 10, it was like sexually transmitted demons was the episode. Way back when, like 2015. But like, okay, Victor Wong and James Hong in Big Trouble in Little China have a wizard's duel, basically, right? The energy is going, well, you know, the two beams of energy, one of them tries to exert more power and he pushes the beam closer to the other guy. The other one resists back. And when they stop, when it breaks, they turn away and go. They don't just keep going. If they could do this forever, I think that they would.
Yeah.
Until someone won. All too often, we see someone do something in a movie and we just assume that it can be done at will. Guess what? When you see World's Strongest Man and the dude deadlifts 1,000 pounds for 2 reps, he can't do it again a minute later.
Yeah.
He can't even do it. He probably can't even do it again that day. You know, like things take energy and different levels of energy. If you have a study session for your board exam, your medical board exams, you know, after you finish med school or something, and you study like nonstop for 3 days, you're practically going insane. Your cortisol levels in your blood are nuts. Like if you all of a sudden needed another day, you might go insane. Like you're biding your time carefully. So maybe this thing also has to concentrate on its connection to our plane of existence. Maybe it's disoriented. When it takes enough damage, if you will, its connection is broken. Maybe that created some time, right? Again, you know, I'm super duper hand waving here. A lot of Dungeons and Dragons history in my life is coming up with these ideas, I think. But I'm just saying, because something can do something, it doesn't mean it can do it all the time. Even in Reign of Fire, those dragons don't breathe fire every time they see something. And it's not by virtue of strategy. It exerts energy. They have glands that produce this. Right? Wizards in movies, they don't just, well, sometimes, but in general, they're not blasting spells forever. Usually they're in Willow, Bathmorda, whatever the good one, was that the good one's name or was that the bad one? But the good one, the good one did something and she was exhausted. And when Willow finally transformed her from her polymorphed state into an animal back into her true form, he literally fell over.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like view it like that. View it like even in X-Men when Magneto's trying to hold something for a long time and you see a vein pop on his forehead, he starts to sweat. So I think that this is my really, really long-winded answer, right? But if it's still alive or not destroyed after the pool scene, this is why it doesn't just get up and keep going after her. It might take a while to regain its energy or focus or whatever it needs to do. For all we know, this is something bartering in the 7th circle of hell, right? Like a Freddy Krueger, if you will, right? Soul. Bartering with the devil in the 7th circle of hell to bring souls in exchange for something. And, oh, you failed. Oh, shit, I failed? Well, maybe if I come up with a good plan, you let me do it again later. But we don't know what this is. People complaining are giving it too much agency. Not that we shouldn't afford it that, right? But and you know, you mentioned the rules. This really threw me when we first discussed this movie. I remember I was annoyed with the rules, and I literally thought there was more than one it that follows. And the reason was that regardless of what they said in the movie, when the boy explains the rules in the beginning, he brought up right away, I still see it. But if he still sees it and she sees it, then there are two its in two places in my head because it's always moving closer to you. So either A, he's wrong that it's always moving closer to you, or B, there's two its that follow, and C, by the way, when he passed it, he kept seeing it and it's still following.
Yeah, I mean, that's an hour long. For me, I think it's just one that you pass and then it immediately goes. And if you see it, it's because it's with another person.
But remember, when the kids went to him for help, who passed it to Jay?
Yeah.
He said, I don't know what's going on. I still see it. It's still coming for me.
Well, because remember when he passed it to her, that one was coming towards him, they both saw it. So now when he sees anything walking towards him, he's probably shell-shocked.
Okay, maybe he's paranoid.
Yeah.
It could be that he's paranoid.
I mean,
but
you would be for the rest of your life, right? Anybody
I'm assuming he's doing what he did with them, though. He even said, do you see her?
Yeah.
And then later, she passed it to her friend, and they could both see it.
But I guess if there were two, it would just keep going after each person. So I think there's more. This isn't part of the final fight, but I do think I think it's just.
But now
one.
we're establishing though that more than one person can see it.
Yeah. Oh, I think if they pass it along and 5 people decide to start a band to kill it, and all 5 can see it, you'd want to keep someone who can't see it, because then they can be like, "Can you see that?" And then they'd be like, "No," because if everyone can see it, you don't.
Right. You need a canary.
But it just seems, she saw it walking into that house to kill him, and then it went back after her. It just seems to be, it passes. So you pass it to somebody, it's tailing you, then it's tailing that. It kills that, it comes back after you. But you can still see it kill them. And how jerky was it, though, that in this final fight, he took the form of Jay's dad that you see in a photo earlier in the movie.
It was interesting, like, when they said, like, I don't remember if someone said, what is it, or what does it look like? And she said, I don't want to tell you.
Yeah.
But the irony is that she's the one who's going to be traumatized. It doesn't really matter to that, but it was her reaction to her trauma. That was a good one. It did some interesting things with its tactics. Sometimes a random person, right? And then before it got her friend, it was walking up to her friend's house as her friend. Mm-hmm. But then it infiltrated her friend, of course, as his mother. Perfect.
Yeah.
Right. And then, then her father. So it's going to close, trusted individuals. Although if I was the It That Follows, if I was so aware of our world, I would come in like a swim coach.
Pizza guy.
No, I'd come in like a swim coach. And then when I see everyone there, I'd be like, I'd put my arms out like, what the hell are you all doing here?
Wait, you don't see it? A pool cleaner.
Because if it was convincing enough, the one person who can see it wouldn't think it was something that they wouldn't see. It'd just be like, like some janitor, like, oh shit, we shouldn't be here. And then he gets a little closer for like an ambush or something.
Oh, my bad. Walks backwards and just waits.
Before he spears a mop at her. So it was interesting too, get back to the fight itself, how it was concerned with the gun wielder.
Yeah.
But it wasn't concerned enough to try to manipulate the gun wielder. It held its arm out, right? Like like holding out its hand, is a very weak distraction. I don't know. Mm-hmm. Like, because clearly its hands don't stop bullets. We saw that. Mm-hmm. Like that was maybe whatever it is, it's just so focused or obsessed, or maybe it's not actually that as intelligent as we would want to believe. But that was interesting to me.
Yeah, I think it's definitely smart, but it just has this one. It's interesting. It has enough limitations, but it has some upgrades, and it's interesting to kind of track. But I don't know. I'm glad that we got to cover this, John, because I just think that this final fight and the people calling it like dumb Scooby Gang kids has annoyed me, and I just wanted to get that off my chest for a while.
No, that's not right. I think we did a good job combating that today.
I mean, and just the intelligence of the production design, the score. I might go buy the soundtrack, get it on vinyl, and write while I listen to it. I mean, it's the excellent score. And I like that this wasn't their plan all along. These kids adapted during the fight. It showed, I don't know, that's neat. I dig it, man. I'm glad you came and joined me to talk about this. And then we went into the creature a little bit. I think you really explained. I like it. It got weakened. It got shot 3 times. So, I mean, thing might need a nap. It might be like Godzilla in the 2014 film when it takes a nap after battling the 2 Mutos. It might be like that, right?
Yeah, and literally, I'm just suggesting not in a way that has anything to do with pain or blood. Yeah, I think so.
I love it. No, man, but any final thoughts about this fight before we get out of here?
Final thoughts about the fight. I think I'm amazed that something that I couldn't imagine being convincing on paper made it to screen like this, but when it made it to screen, it worked. I can't imagine how this could have been pitched in a way that people thought that sounds great. Mm-hmm. I think if anything, people thought that sounds inexpensive.
Yeah.
So go ahead. But they took something that was maybe inexpensive. I don't know the logistics, and that probably didn't sound convincingly awesome. And it was, I can't stress this enough. It was tense. The whole movie's tense, but it was tense. It's a monster throwing appliances at someone in a pool, which sounds laughable, but it was tense. So it worked, man. It was cool. And when it ended, I had just a completely silent shock.
Nice.
To me. And I didn't feel like waving my hands in the air in victory. I didn't laugh. I was just quietly sitting there on my couch until we move on to a next scene where we ominously wonder whether or not they really won.
I love it how
it's very effective. No, it's very effective. That's all I was going to say.
Yeah, I like how they build it wordlessly. They don't ever say this, so we're going to do this. You just watch and you understand. They set it up. He gives you enough shots to let you know what they're doing without saying it. It offers some surprises, some memorable visuals, and I don't know, man. I just think that these kids stuck together. Like and also these kids didn't do anything wrong. Like these kids did nothing wrong, and I think that works for me a lot in horror movies when the lead characters didn't get something by being stupid. Right. Does that make sense? Like I like that they decided to do this. They decided to be proactive. The cops wouldn't believe them. I mean, that would just be weird. They tried it. They tried. And I like how they wordlessly explained the scene. They showed it. They didn't tell it. And I just dig that these kids tried. And
you mentioned they didn't do anything wrong. Even the date with the guy who gave it to her, we even knew in the beginning it wasn't their first date. She had dated him before. She really liked him. Like, the Scooby Gang people, boy, we got to get them in a room, Mark. Like, we got to get them in a room because this really was one of the most plausible groups of kids in a horror movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like, period, the end. They were ultra plausible.
Yeah, dude, the kid Jay was such a puppy dog around. I'm sorry, Paul was such a puppy dog around Jay. And he acted like a 16-year-old kid who loves a 19-year-old or 7. You know what I mean? Like it was just nice feral 80s kids in the 2000s with weird e-readers. But no, thank you for joining me, man. This was a lot of fun. I'm glad we did this. All right, cool. So for me, Mark Hoffmeyer, and for John Levengood, this is Final Fights. We'll see you next week.